So the first question for today is, it's from a solopreneur in India. He or she says that I'm 14 months into running my solo brand strategy practice in Bangalore. I'm doing everything the freelance gurus teach you. I'm networking at the right hubs. I'm active with my LinkedIn, consistent with follow-ups, etc. But my revenue is giving me nightmares. I see huge spikes followed by months of flatline, no revenue. I can't help checking my bank balance every night and I start spiraling like I'm just playing house instead of building a venture. God, this person is giving me PTSD.
Okay.
My gut knows that revenue is a lagging metric, but my anxiety isn't buying it. Plus, this makes it difficult to maintain an outward persona of being a successful strategist while I feel like a constant failure inside. What do I do?
Wow. I'll start with this, but okay. I don't, I don't know. So, all right. So, look, I think that it's a very tough time. It's a
Yeah,
very, very, very tough time for anybody who's encountering that, because you literally think that you need to put up a brave face or a brave front,
yeah,
and it's not just to clients and customers, mind you. It's probably sometimes to your own family members.
yeah,
Sometimes, yeah, right. And I think that he's being very thoughtful, or he or she, I don't know, is being very thoughtful about the fact that revenue is a lagging metric and all, and you understand that rationally, but you don't
yeah,
understand that emotionally, especially if you know that you've been in a job and you're used to a steady paycheck.
yeah.
Right. So the emotionality of it and the rationality of it does not mix, and that's the beauty of having three brains in one. I mean, we've got the prefrontal cortex, the limbic system, and the reptilian brain. I think reptilian brain strikes very hard, especially when it comes to checking bank balance. Right?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, we get used to that constant reward, right? At the end of
Yeah.
every month. So it becomes very difficult after that. And once you've had a steady gig, like I'm assuming this person must have worked for some time if they're getting into brand strategy, right? So
Yeah.
once you get used to that steady paycheck after that, freelancing is like one day you are earning lakhs of crores and then 10 months nothing, right? And it is literally a pressure cooker situation at times, and you can't help looking at your bank every day. I still remember looking at that red graph, like credit card is increasing, no revenue is
I
coming.
know.
How will I pay the rent? How will I pay the bills? And all of that stuff, keeps
No,
on.
but if you look at it, the choice of profession is also not helping. Because if you're a brand strategist, right, what you're talking to people is, oh, think long term. Okay,
Yeah,
oh, think brand. And actually you're worried about the short term. So
yeah,
it's not helping your cause by being so focused on the short term, is what I would say. So you have to find a method to stop looking at your bank balance in an emotional way. I'm not saying be blind to reality. I'm not saying be blind to the fact that, okay, you're not doing as well as you hoped, and what are the things that you can do. But what tends to happen is that when you get caught stuck like a deer in headlights, right?
yeah.
What tends to happen is that you then become very blinkered, and then you become very emotional in your decision making. You become reactive. You start fighting with people around you and stuff like that. So that's the
And
first thing you have to
and
avoid.
then you start looking at very small term projects also. Like you
Mm,
generally what happens is something should come, right? Something should come,
mm,
even
yeah,
if it's a 10,000 rupees something. Make a logo, do something, like something should hit the bank, right? But all that does is it wastes a lot of your time. It consumes a lot of your effort and your energy. But at the end of the day, you're still struggling for paying your rent, right?
yeah. And especially, again, going back to the whole brand strategy thing, right? If you're a brand consultant, if you've been in a cozy job wherein people maybe treat you with a modicum of respect, saying, oh, brand, ye wo, and
Yeah,
then you get out and you meet some people who you're pitching brand strategy for. Okay, it just, and people say, nahi nahi, aisa kuch nahi hota hai, brand is all bullshit,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So then suddenly you start questioning everything within
Everything
your
that you
soul as to
start.
what is happening.
Especially in a country like India, right? I mean,
Yeah.
in say like very matured markets like US, UK, Europe, perhaps, brand actually means something because they've grown up with brands, with looking at Nikes and L'Oreal's of the world. But in India, it's a very utilitarian kind of market where we want quick ROI. So when you say the first disclaimer for anybody doing brand strategy, creative marketing or something is, don't expect any results for the next 3 to 6 months, right? And the
Mm.
moment you say that to an Indian company, everything goes for a toss. They,
Yeah.
because it's not urgent, and so I think here perhaps a change in narrative of how you're positioning yourself or how you're positioning yourself to you matters a lot.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, to you part becomes really critical because you
Yeah.
can't be somebody else within worried about the short term and be selling. So you need to change your narrative. And what I would recommend to this person is, how do you change your narrative when you're feeling very bad inside?
Hmm.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the only way to do it is to have a routine. I mean, James Clear, Atomic Habits, and all of that, but to have a routine that almost makes uh, meeting a client as something that you're reluctantly doing. And I'm saying this really weirdly.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
So,
true.
in fact, my dad said this, and he's a surgeon who set up his own hospital, nothing to do with brand building.
Yeah.
But he gave me a piece of advice that was really useful. He said, look, he got it from his mentor, and his mentor said, look, you got to design your day in a way that, meeting a patient, because you're not going to have patients in a new hospital.
Yeah.
Meeting a patient is almost something that you're not looking forward to because you're too busy learning something new, or
Yeah.
you're too busy doing something else. If you have the ability to be creative, and as a brand strategist you are creative, then you
Yeah.
should find a way in which you can design your routine in a way that you're contributing to social media posts, you're learning something new in the world of brand strategy or allied fields, you're going out and meeting people, you're doing some research, you're writing a paper, something which allows you to have control. So you are then when you're meeting a client, you're talking from that certainty of control. You're
Yeah.
talking from somebody who's on the edge,
Yeah.
and something that the client can recognize.
Yeah, that's true. That helps with the outer confidence. For the internal confidence, so this is something that I did with myself because I was so used to having a job, right? So
Yeah,
what I did was all the savings that I had, like before quitting the job, I gave myself a runway of like a few months, right?
yeah,
So I put all of that money in different FDs, like small 50
nice.
50K FDs, right?
Yeah.
So what I would do every month is I would break one FD. So
Mm.
every month there used to be a 50K coming into my account or a 25K
Nice.
coming into my account. So
Oh,
that
nice.
gave me a subconscious clue, that a cue that something is coming in. And
Oh, wow.
every
Yeah.
2 months or every 3 months, I would now check if something is moving forward, if my savings are diminishing. The moment I gave myself like this deadline, right? The moment my savings go below 50% of where
Mm.
I had started, this is where I need to pivot into something else. If they
Brilliant.
is to 25%, then that is the time when I start looking for a job. So I gave myself these milestones, right? So it didn't leave me into a void that I have endless runway, I don't know what to do, maybe in 10 months if something works out, if it doesn't work out, etc., etc., right?
Mm.
And
Mm.
I even monetarily I had these peculiar things, like I like investing. So obviously in a job, if it used to be X amount, I made it like point
Yeah.
0.1 of that X amount. But I
Yeah.
had these routines that this much, if 50,000 is coming into my account after I break in FD, this much after my rent and all, this much is for investments. So the
Yeah.
moment that money goes into the investment, that gets me into the loop, that I'm still
Yeah.
working, there is
Yeah.
some income coming in, I have a financial routine and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was helping take care of all of those things. And in any case, whatever I was investing was again going into my mind, okay, that is also building my runway.
Yeah, no, these are the stories that we need to actually tell
Yeah.
ourselves and create that frame. One important thing that you mentioned was about, kind of taking on side projects when you're like when you want to do something else. Now, that is the absolute nadir, right?
Yeah.
Because what tends to happen is that then you start doing some related design work or something, and then you start having dark nights of the soul wherein you're saying, okay, have I quit my job for this? Like, I'm doing this, and
Exactly.
and then
Exactly.
you get into a reactive mode, and then you just
Yeah.
quit. So
Initially,
I
initially
Yeah.
this happened a lot, right? Because it was this, you're doing freelancing. Even the people that I was doing freelancing with, they used to have similar models where they would take anything that came, even if it paid like 5,000 a month or something like that. So I was doing anything and everything, and I thought, dude, I was earning in lakhs for the same work that I was doing in a job. Why the hell would
Yeah.
I quit a high
Yeah.
paying job for something that is not fun, that pays me much less, like pays me peanuts and gives me so much anxiety, right? So then I took this call that, I have this much runway for 3 months. I am not going to worry about this,
Yeah.
right? I have
No.
these
Yeah.
specific goals in my head that I have to do, and this is the benchmark. I will
Mm.
not go below this. This is benchmark, can be the financial benchmark, can be the type of projects, and for every other project, you have to have a hard no.
Mm.
Initially, it'll hurt a lot, right? You have these dilemmas that, am I being stupid?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
something is falling into my
Yeah.
lap. Maybe life is telling me that, this is building my runway, and maybe nothing will
Yeah.
work out.
No.
Maybe after
Yeah.
3 months, I will hate myself for not taking this project and all of that stuff. But you have to take that conscious call. At some point, you have to say no. This
There
does
has to
not.
there has to be a burning there has to be a burning yes inside when you can say no.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
So I think that is really critical. Now if I look at the way in which the you should keep yourself busy, I would say do something that Kshitish Dogra is doing on LinkedIn. He's a student of mine and is a big time LinkedIn influencer.
yeah,
Got over a lakh of followers on LinkedIn. Now he's doing a lot of creative work, okay, that he posts about brands. He has a full-time job, and the rest of it, but he's posting that. So he's using his creativity and applying brand strategy to well-known brands.
yeah,
Why not build a portfolio, right?
correct.
Why not do the work? Fine, you're not getting paid for it, but at least it's keeping you in the game,
Yeah.
right? It's keeping you in the
Yeah,
game.
one thing I did to build my portfolio, because I was not getting any brand projects and all of that. Even
Yeah.
I started as a brand strategist, right? I
Yeah.
was not getting any projects, and there is constant tussle. Why do you need a brand? Brand is just logo and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So what I did was I made a brand book for myself, because
Oh,
that was
lovely.
something that I could show
Beautiful.
people, right?
Beautiful.
And
Yeah.
that included everything, like what is my logo. So my logo is my painting, right? What is my
Yeah.
logo? What does it mean? What is the color palette?
Super.
What is the strategy? Where do I want to be in the next 5 years, and why does that fit my brand archetype? And
Janavi, you have to put this up on Instagram. This is such a cool idea. You have to put it up on Instagram or some other or Substack or something like that. This is such a cool idea. Making your own brand portfolio. I personally decided to, when we started Fable Lab, when we both knew that it's going to take some time for us to get. And by the way, that people, that makes us totally relatable. We are not talking from a pulpit here. What I think is really critical for us to understand is, okay, how do I do something that builds some identity for the
yeah,
kind of work that I do? So I decided to build my own communities on TikTok and Instagram, and that allows you to actually invest brand building in a narrative, and then you can showcase that. So whenever you are not able to get revenue or get clients, make sure that you're building something to showcase. So if you're not learning, or you should be earning. If you're not earning, you should be learning.